till the right action arises by itself, and the master doesn't seek fulfillment, not seeking, not expecting. She is present and can welcome all things. These are Lao Tzu poems from the Tao Te Ching are always very intriguing and can be deceiving in their simplicity. Yes. Okay. Well, I will take no more of your time today, and I goodbye. Yes. Goodbye. Hello. Welcome to my reading session. Today I thought that maybe we would take a little bit of a read at a famous Zhuangzhou story. Yes, okay. Yes, here we go. Listen up. Cook Ting was cutting up an ox for Lord Wen Hui. At every touch of his hand, every heave of his shoulder, every move of his feet, every thrust of his knee, zip, zoop, he slithered the knife along with a zing. And all was in perfect rhythm, as though he were performing the dance of the mulberry groves or keeping time to the Qing Shao music. This is marvelous, said Lord Wen Hui. Imagine skill reaching such heights. Cook Ding laid out his knife and replied, "What I care about is the way, which goes beyond skill." Yes. When I first began cutting up oxen, all I could see was the ox itself. After 3 years, I no longer saw the whole ox. And now I go at it by spirit and don't look with my eyes. Yes. Perception and understanding have come to a stop, and spirit move wherever it wants. I go along with the natural makeup, strike in the big hollows, guide the knife through the big openings, and follow things as they are. So I never touch the smallest ligament or tendon, much less a main joint. Yes. Okay. A good cook changes his knife once a year because he counts. A mediocre cook changes his knife once a month because he hacks. I've had this knife of mine for 19 years, and I've cut up thousands of oxen with it. And yet the blade is as good as though it has just come from the grindstone. Yes. Very good story. Let's continue. There are spaces between the joints, and the blade of the knife has really no thickness. If you insert what has no thickness into such spaces, there's plenty of room, more than enough for the blade to play about it. That's why after 19 years, the blade of my knife is still as good as when it had first came from the grindstone. Yes. However, whenever I come to a complicated place, I size up the difficulties. Tell myself to watch out and be careful. Keep my eyes on what I'm doing, work very slowly, and move the knife with the greatest subtlety until flop! The whole thing comes apart like a clod of earth crumbling to the ground. Yes. I stand there holding the knife and look around me, completely satisfied and reluctant to move on. And then I wipe off the knife and put it away. Yes. Excellent, said Lord Wen Hui. I have heard the words of Cook Ting and learn how to care for life. Yes, very fascinating, these Zhuangzhou stories. They often carry a lot of deep weight. But, yes, my children, thank you so much for listening to my story, and I will take no more of your time anymore. Thank you very much for listening. Yes. Oh my. Oh, that's very not good. Yes. Hello again. It's me. I have come back to read you a little bit of a story from the Tao Te Ching. Yes. Okay. Let's begin. We're going to be reading chapter 15. Yes. The ancient masters were profound and subtle. Their wisdom was unfathomable.
All right. Hey, bro. All right. So I think we're gonna start now because I don't think we're really expecting anybody else. The amount of viewers is shifting between 1 and 2 as I am saying this, so that's funny. Let me just adjust my microphone, mute so you don't go deaf. All right. And I think we can begin talking. Although the number of people in the chat is varying, it keeps on going up and down and up and down. But you know what it is. So, have you been to any other previous lectures, bro? Because I don't think you have. So I don't think you know how things work around here. This light is way too bright. Hold up to me. This seems to be better. I checked in, but no, I haven't seen a full lecture before. Just journaling right now, though, so I'm chilling with you. Alright, bro, well, feel free to hang out and get some value, though, although you're right now the only person in here, so by hanging out with me, you're my entire audience, so congratulations on that, brother. Yeah. So, I don't know. Feels kind of stupid talking to a single person, although there was some more people before, then they joined, then they left, then they joined, then they left, so I'm kind of curious to see whether they all join in or not. And if not, then we're just gonna oh, then there's 3 people suddenly. All right, this is a lot better. All right, then guys, welcome back to the show. Right, and today we're gonna be talking about one of the most fundamental things. Actually, wait, let me start recording. Silly. All right, guys, welcome back to the show. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most fundamental concepts in all of Chinese philosophy, which is yin yang. I am a master of being prepared, so I literally do not have a single yin yang around me. But you know, it's the little squiggle thing that you have in this corner on red backdrop. You should have it if you're watching the stream, and you do. It should be here. Yeah. All right, so let's begin with tea, how we always begin. Pretty hot. All right. So guys, what do you know about the yin yang? Let's see what do you guys know about it, and then we can judge on it. What kind of tea you drink? Every single stream a different tea. This time I have a rooibos tea. Recently I've been drinking a lot of green tea and black tea just before bed, and I've been going to sleep really late, so I decided it's time to end my caffeination on these streams and evenings, so we're drinking a caffeine-free tea. Balance and polarity, that's what yin yang is to you. That's already a really decent answer. A short one, but a good one, and a proper one, and a rather complete one. Black is feminine chaos, white is masculine order. All right. We're already in on the action. Tea's not brewed enough. Tastes like warm water rather than anything. But it's pretty good. All right, yeah. So the yin yang really is just balance and polarity. I don't really know how to start this one, because it's a topic that is really broad, but simultaneously really non-broad. It's something that you could explain either literally with 2 sentences, or in 24 hours you could just yap and blabber on about it all the time. What is this sound? Okay. So yeah, so maybe let's get a marker, a sheet of paper. And yeah, I do keep everything on the floor. All right. So, I think it is a really good idea to begin by... Could you cover the common misconceptions associated with it? I feel like the most popular interpretation culture are incomplete or straight up wrong. That is a really good idea, yeah. We shall do that. So, let's begin again by drawing ourselves a little yin yang. Right. You already know this, or at least I hope you know this. All right, the basic drawing of the yin and yang. We got we got the yin up here, the yang down there. So, well, actually ironic, because for some reason, wait, let me see a yin yang, because maybe it's just me who's tripping. Okay, I drew a mirrored image. Doesn't really matter. So let's say that we're gonna have the yin is on the left, so we're gonna get the yin on the bottom, the yang on the top. So yeah. All right. Right. So as I was saying, I'm gonna have to fix this, because this is not, this doesn't really work out really well for us. So we got the yin over here, and we got the yang over here. Right. And now let's just, get a little sense of what these things are actually about, right? So for yin, we can definitely mark that this is the black, the dark, the weak, the chaos, the feminine, although right now I'm literally reflecting about the yin yang, and is yin chaos? Could it be called that way? because simultaneously yin is chaos and passivity, and yang is order and Well, welcome to Taoism, the land of paradoxes. We're just literally trying to talk about the yin yang, and we find the paradox. Actually, I'm gonna fucking write it down for myself so that we cover this later. But I need to not forget. Why interpret chaos as an active agent? Well, look, because chaos is opposite of order, and is order really an active thing? I would not say that order is an active force. I would say order is a passive force. Whereas chaos is an active force, right? And it's associated with the feminine, which is the doing and the more actionable and the less passive half, which is odd, but you know, so for yin it's also passivity. Yeah, and now let's move on to the yang, right? So the yang is the white, it's the bright, it's the strong, the order, the masculine, it's the action. Right, so you guys can take a look at this, right? We got the yin, the black, the dark, the weak, the chaos, the feminine, the passivity. And we got the yang, which is the white, the bright, the strong, the order, the masculine, and the action, right? Or the active. And now, speaking of misconceptions, one of the most popular misconceptions about the whole thing is that the yin yang is about the opposites, about the good and about the bad, and about the we want this and about the don't want that, and about the world would be better with this and the world would be worse with this. But the thing is, guys, let's take a look again at the drawing, right? If you just take a look at the curve itself, which one comes first? Which is first, the yin or the yang? Which is first? Which one? Stupid question. None of them. Because like, what even defines first in this layout, right? You could say, oh yeah, this one is on top, which actually is pretty funny because I drew it the opposite. So this one is actually on the bottom, which reveals the irony, right? Because if you just the other there, no, this direction, right? If you just rotate it, what it does is the top becomes the bottom becomes the top becomes the bottom becomes the top becomes blah, 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 and so forth, right? It's a self-generating cycle. Both of them are on top, both of them are on bottom, both of them are the first, both of them are the last. It's an endless cycle. It doesn't have a origin point, it doesn't have an end point. They are coexistent. They need each other, right? Usually one of them is the darker, right? So let's color it in, you know. Right. There we go. Right. So right now one of them is the dark. Let's just say that the colored in is the dark. So what happens if because it usually is represented by two fish, right? You have the white fish and the What is going on, bro? The white fish, there we go. And the black fish. Okay, I give up. Right? And which one eats the other one, right? If the black fish eats the white fish, then it's all black. And if the white fish eats the black fish, it's all white. But then again, they just keep on, wrong direction, they just keep on running away from each other. None of them want to be eaten. Because they're not opposites. They're complementaries. And that's a big difference, right? Because complementaries require each other to exist. And speaking of requiring each other to exist, yes, that is exactly why the line dividing them is curved instead of straight. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I was saying, speaking of them rising each other, creating each other, let's move on to today's little reading session that why am I gone? There we go. There am I. There I am. Okay. Hold up. Technical stuff. There we go. Awesome. Technical stuff done. Okay. So last time we were reading the illustrated Analogues of Confucius, chapter 7, verse 16, right? And this time around we're reading the Tao Te Ching, chapter 2. So today we're skipping Confucianism because Confucianism doesn't really bother itself with matters of yin and yang, with the matters of balance. They just completely skip that topic. It's none of their interest, right? So let's begin our reading session of chapter 2. When people realize what beauty is, the concept of ugliness arises as well. When people realize what goodness is, the concept of badness arises also. Being and nothing produce each other. Easy and difficult create each other. Long and short reveal each other. High and low support each other. Sound and voice harmonize with each other. Front and back follow each other. So sages act without doing and teach without speaking. All things do their thing without it being put into words. There is creation without ownership, action without presumption, accomplishment without arrogance. It is because they don't dwell on their success that they are not forgotten. Concepts and values in this world are created by people, and as a result, people make value judgments and comparisons. But perspectives change, and thus value judgments must also change. So don't create trouble for yourself by getting caught up in relative opposites like beauty and ugliness, being and nothing, difficult and easy, long and short, high and low, forward and back, etc. Whoop, wrong button. I meant to click this. What did we learn from Lao Tzu? What did Lao Tzu tell us in the Tao Te Ching chapter 2, ladies and gentlemen? What did we learn here? Also, whilst I'm waiting for y'all to tell me what did we learn from Lao Tzu, make sure to tell me if you enjoyed this little reading session with, the right adjusted moving slides, right? Not slides, but with it changing. I hope you enjoyed it. Opposites need each other to exist. All right. Opposites need each other to exist. Anybody else got anything else? Something that you took out from this? Something that you'd like to share with us? There's 4 of us. Oh, there's 2 of us now. Oh, the numbers are shifting crazy. Let's take a sip of tea. I did not understand the last panel though. Why not dwell on beauty and ugliness? Ah, okay. Let's come back to that. Hold up. Yeah, the tea is way, way better right now. The last panel, yeah? This one. Let's read it again. Concepts and values in this world are created by people. And as a result, people make value judgments and comparisons. But perspectives change, and thus value judgments must also change. So don't create trouble for yourself by getting caught up in relative opposites like beauty and ugliness, being and non-being, difficult and easy, long and short, high and low, front and back, etc. Is this what you meant? Wait, what was the previous one about? There we go. This is the one about dwelling. My bad. All things do their thing without it being put into words. There is creation without ownership, action without presumption, accomplishment without arrogance. It is because they don't dwell on their success that they are not forgotten. Yeah. All right. So dwelling on beauty and ugliness, or on success, or on presumptions. Why should not we dwell? You've not been to the previous lectures, so you have absolutely no idea how serious we are out here about this one curious little part of Chinese philosophy, the Wu Wei, or the non-action, or the non-resistance. We've been talking about it every single lecture, and today I wanted to do a yin-yang lecture so we can avoid Wu Wei for 10 seconds. Can't avoid Wu Wei for 10 seconds. Wu Wei is the most important thing ever. Right, so we got Wu Wei. There we go. The thing is... Oh, okay, I have a good way to put it. So why should not we dwell on ownership, action, and beauty, and ugliness, and such things? So earlier we spoke about how the yin-yang rotates, right? It eats itself, like the little fish. What force, what person, what force, what creates this rotation? What invites this play of opposite forces? Because these two forces, they constantly switch up, right? Everything. Day goes into night, right? Light goes into dark. But dark goes into light and night goes into day again. This is the most simple example, right? You're born and you die, and then somebody else is born. Maybe you're reborn. Who knows? This one is actually not what we're going to get into today. Rebirth is a topic for a different day. Right? But who creates this motion? Tell me, bro. Who creates this motion? Switch back to the main view. Who creates it? Not a clue. It creates itself, bro. Think about this. Let's go. Episode 2 of Bro Science. This time we're gonna bro science physics. I have no fucking clue about anything in physics. Let's bro science physics. So, how does a magnet work? Or an electrical charge. Oh my god, I'm gonna bro science this so hard. So from my basic ass watered down understanding of what magnetism or electromagnetism is you have something that is a plus, and then you have something that is a minus, and for some reason they just they want to become one, or not become one but become attached, whichever one it is, right? They are attracted to each other. They want to create a whole. Create a whole. create a hall. I think we're gonna need a new drawing. Where can I get a new drawing for us? I guess here. All right, a new hole. So, he conical persons, but developed over millennia in ancient China, with roots dating back to the 14th century BCE. Early, it represented the shaded yin, sunny yang sides of a mountain. Yes, bro, that is the origin of the yin yang. Thanks for sharing that, I suppose. Selman Davis. All right. As I was saying. Again, out here with the mirrored yin yang, because I literally, my dumb ass forgot, right? All right. So, we have the little yin yang. And if we were to say, to follow that line of reasoning, that it wants to be one, it wants to be whole, it wants to be complete, what happens? You'll notice that there's one piece of the drawing missing. What's missing? The circle is missing, right? All right, so let's now connect it real nice with the ugliest circle to have ever been drawn. And hey, if you're seeing what I'm seeing, this looks pretty closed. This looks like a pretty self-sufficient system that doesn't require any external force to operate. It just keeps on going and going and going, and it's enclosed in its own little circle thing. Huh. I mean, it just seems like some natural law, like a law of physics. The opposites just attract each other. That's just what they do. But there is no force, no active force, I mean, that does it. There is no hand that, spins this mechanism and rotates the yin and yang. It just happens on its own. I've never seen a yin-yang strike that it needs a day off, because it's a little wu-wei. It's effortless action. It just happens. It's a natural motion of the universe to rotate, to move, to be in motion. The cold needs to turn hot, and then the hot needs to turn cold, and then the cold needs to turn hot, and day and night and night and day. Dark turns into light, light turns into dark. But notice that the yin-yang has these two particular little circles. So actually this circle should be like this, right? The yin-yang has two little circle things. What is that? What is the deal with the little circles? It's the deal with the little circles. Any ideas? It is chasing itself, yes. But what about the circles? What about the circles? Come on, bro, you got this. Could say that the chaos component is chasing the black circle, which is part of itself as a desire to be whole again. Could say that the chaos component is chasing the black circle, which is a part of itself, as a desire to be whole again. Or that it might be repelling it if we follow the magnetism analogy. And that is actually pretty insightful. I never really thought about this way, that it's like chasing. It's like, hey, give me back my like my little piece. But I'll tell you the more official, although it's philosophy. There's no official agenda. It's, if it works, then it's official agenda. Right? This is not mathematics. Although in mathematics, same thing. If it works, it works. But the more orthodox way to explain this is that in beauty, okay, let's go back to, I believe here. Oh, no, there we go. When people realize what beauty is, the concept of ugliness arises as well. You cannot have one without the other. And really, if you have beauty itself, and then the ugliness is just created, right? I think like this. Damn, I'm good at this. So long and short reveal each other, high and low support each other. After some time, what you come to realize is that by examining beauty and looking at it thoroughly and getting to know it, you begin to understand ugliness. And same goes for the opposite. If you really look at ugliness and get to know it and examine it very closely, you kind of get to know what beauty is. Because they are within each other. You simply cannot have ugliness without beauty and beauty without ugliness. But in a weird way, they carry the other one within them. Right? You know? It's like the entire universe works like this. So do you know what a hologram is? Do you know what a hologram is? Bro, you're out here vibing alone with me. I really appreciate you, bro, sticking around. Because it would be pretty silly to talk to myself. So, cheers. This one is dedicated to you, bro. Out here with my one man. I appreciate you for the knowledge, brother. Thanks. I appreciate you for staying. Anywho, let's come back, right? It is. Do you know what a hologram is? That's the question I asked. Yes, okay. So just in short, for the people watching at home, so a hologram is something that within itself, it contains the really micro picture of the grand whole. So for example, if you throw a pebble into a lake and it creates the little ripples on the water, if you then pour liquid nitrogen on top of it and immediately freeze the ripples, right, the water surface with the ripples, and you break it into 1,000 shards and you take one little shard of the water with the ripples, from that thing, you can recreate the entire body of the water at that point of freezing. And then you can recreate the stone. And then you can recreate where the stone came from. And you can go back and back and back and back and back until from this little shard of the frozen nitrogen lake, you can recreate the entire universe. That's essentially what a hologram is. Oh, it's empty. And same goes for the little dots in the yin and yang. Oh my god, today tea is over really quickly. It's probably going to be a short lecture. Right? So these little dots are holograms. Because from, like we spoke, right? From the beauty, you can reconstruct ugliness. From the ugliness, you can reconstruct beauty. They arise mutually, which is the term used by the normal philosophy, right? Yeah. So this is in Chinese philosophy referred to as okay, 相省, yeah. No, it's 相省, which really sounds similar to the Chinese word for mister, but it literally means mutual arising, right? Things create each other. They need each other to exist. So let's maybe talk a little bit about the real world part of the yin yang. What is it in the real world? Way back 2 years ago, when I was doing a lot of lectures back then, when it was the first time around I was doing lectures, because this is my second run in my life of regular lecturing. So back then, I would give this example a lot to illustrate the yin yang in the world, right? So let's take a look at the yin yang in the real world. You breathe oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. Now the carbon dioxide is taken in by the trees, and the trees feed on the carbon dioxide, and they release oxygen, which is to them wasteful. We breathe that oxygen, which is to us necessary for survival, and we breathe out carbon dioxide, which to us is waste. The trees take in the carbon dioxide, which is food to them, and give away the oxygen, which is waste to them. We take the oxygen as nutrition, give carbon dioxide as a waste, and it keeps on spinning. We breathe what to trees is a waste, and trees breathe what to us is a waste. And thus we get a system. The oxygen is replenished by the carbon dioxide, and replenished by the oxygen, and replaced by the carbon dioxide, and replaced by the oxygen. So again and 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 again. This is the law of yin and yang. It just keeps on replenishing itself. So this is where the general overview of the yin-yang finishes. There is no more to be said about the yin-yang if you want to walk away with the basic knowledge. This is all you need to know. Now you're more proficient in yin-yang than 95% of people, or 99% of people, because most people never really think. They just think, oh, it's black and white opposites. Yeah, okay, awesome, cool. You don't understand that it's complementaries, that they really need each other. But we can take this a step further. We can really go deep down into one of yin-yang's features, because there are so many of them. But I want to talk to you about a very, very particular one, because the other ones I would like to read up on my own. So, you might realize that there is two things on the yin and yang, the black and the white. So the good and the bad, the high and the low. But we already established that you cannot really have the bright without the dark and the dark without the bright. They need each other to exist, really. They're codependent. They arise mutually. So far we've been talking about the dualist philosophy. The philosophy of dualism, right? So there's two forces, opposite forces, and they keep on switching, right? That is the Christian philosophy. There's good God and there's bad devil, right? Christianity is a lot more nuanced, but basic understanding. Okay, Judaism. Judaism doesn't have that nuance. Okay, it does have that simple understandings. Let's not get into the details because I'd love to talk about that. But you might notice that it's again united in the little circle thing. And they kind of make a single whole. So there isn't really two things, there's one thing. Just a yin-yang, just a one whole thing. I'm gonna sell you Buddhist wisdom right now. You weren't ready for Buddhist wisdom, were you? That's the world's worst box that I've just drawn. Ladies and gentlemen, tell me, what do you see on the little sheet of paper right now? We ready? What do you see? What is this? A square. Yes. What is a square made out of? What is a square made out of? Let's do the anatomy of a square. A fucking kindergarten. What is a square made of? Four sides. Yes, a square has four sides. That's correct. But let me tell you that it's wrong. A square may have four sides, but that's not what a square is. You don't need four sides to have a square. Okay, maybe you do, but don't matter. Spirituality, not maths. So let me show you. I'm not even gonna put it on the table. I'm gonna show you right now. So when you have a square, you have a little inside and a little outside. You have the inside of a square and you have the outside of a square. Now let me show you what Buddhist enlightenment is. What happens if you remove the four sides? You no longer have a circle. You no longer have the square. Right? But you do have the square. So you cannot have the inside without the outside. If you have a square, if you have the four sides that are a square, you need an inside, you need an outside. You need the... Hold up. You need the yin and you need the... Right. You need the yin and you do need the yang. They require each other. They are necessary to exist. This in Buddhism is called shunyata or sunyata. I'm not sure. And this is literally enlightenment. This is literally what the Buddha saw. He was like just vibing under the tree and he was like, oh my God, you need an inside of a square to have an outside of a square. Okay, time to ascend Earth now. That's literally what the Buddha discovered. Crazy, I know. And the Taoists kind of discovered it too. I'll be an advocate for the Taoists till the day I die. W Buddha. So today's lecture, I think, can be wrapped up. It's a much shorter one. But I did kind of under-prepare, so I apologize for that, bro. This is the first time you came around here and you had to experience the not the best lecture of mine. But I genuinely do appreciate that you came in here. We still have the rest of the thing. But you get a little preview into what we're gonna be talking about next time. Out here reading the Handfeide, which is a very important philosophical work of a certain philosophy that we spoke about here earlier, not Taoist, but Chinese. And we're going to be talking about that sometime soon. It's going to be a lecture about habits, systems, consistency, and stuff like that. I don't know if it's going to be the next lecture, but one of the upcoming ones. So I hope that this little advert is going to make you want to come there. We hang out every single Saturday and Wednesday, like today, same time as today. So that is 6:30 p.m. European time. If you're from outside of Europe, then it's the something 30 your time. And thank you so much for coming. Have a good session in the gym, and thank you the comic panels. I'm gonna try to do more of that, although I don't know, these comic panels they don't belong to me. So yeah, thank you very much, bro. Catch you in the next one. Cheers.